You know, when water gets into your home, it's not just a mess, it's the start of a countdown. Today, we're breaking down the scientific battle that happens in the hours after a flood and why every single second matters.
Okay, just picture this for a second. This is your living room. It doesn't matter if it was a slow leak or a sudden storm, the feeling is the same, right? Just overwhelming shock. But here's the thing, the choices made right after this moment, that's what determines everything. The second that water shows up, a clock starts ticking. I'm serious. It sets off this chain reaction of damage, and if you don't jump on it fast, things can spiral completely out of control. All right, so let's get into it. When you're talking about water damage, your number one enemy is time. Every single minute that water is just sitting there, the damage gets worse, and you can bet the price tag to fix it goes right up with it. So check this out. 2 hours. That's the magic number we hear about. Why is that time frame so incredibly critical? Well, in those first 120 minutes, the water hasn't really had a chance to soak deep into the bones of your house. So if pros can get in there fast, they can pull out most of that water before it starts to permanently warp the wood, swell the drywall, and before the nasty stuff starts to grow. And look at how fast this escalates. I mean, it's kind of terrifying. Within minutes, you're losing personal stuff, photos, books. But fast forward just a few hours, and now it's attacking your actual house. The drywall, the wood, the metal, and by day 2, now you've got a biological problem. That's when mold decides to move in. You see all that water you're sloshing through? That's just the tip of the iceberg. The real battle, the one that causes the big problems down the line, it's against the water you can't even see. Yeah, you might see something like this crumbling drywall, and think, okay, the problem's right here. But water is sneaky. It's like a master escape artist. It'll find any little path it can, wicking up inside your walls and traveling along beams way, way far from where it all started. And this is where the real danger is. That moisture, it doesn't just sit on the surface. It gets sucked deep inside your walls, gets trapped under the floor, and soaks right into your insulation. And those hidden wet spots, they're basically a perfect little nursery for all sorts of future problems. So how do you find an invisible enemy? With some pretty cool tech, that's how. This is a thermal camera. Now, it's not actually seeing water, it's seeing temperature. See those dark, cool spots? That's evaporation happening. It's basically a big, flashing sign that says, hey, there's hidden water right here, even when the wall looks and feels totally dry. And if you just leave that hidden moisture to do its thing, oh boy, you're basically rolling out the welcome mat for a whole list of disasters. You've got mold, for one. Then bacteria. The actual wood that holds your house up can start to rot. Your electrical system can get compromised, which is super dangerous. And in older homes, you might even stir up things you really don't want to mess with, like asbestos. And that's exactly why this whole process is so much more than just drying things out. It's about decontamination. It's about making your home a genuinely safe place to be again, for you and for your family. All right, so we've seen the problem. It's overwhelming, right? So how in the world do the pros deal with it? Well, it's definitely not guesswork. It's a very specific step-by-step process. You can think of it as their restoration playbook. And the key word in that playbook is scientific. We're not just talking about getting out some mops and buckets here. This is a very systematic approach that follows really strict industry standards to make sure every single thing is done right, from the first look to the final nail. And this playbook is absolutely essential. Okay, so step 1, they figure out where the water's coming from and what's dangerous. Step 2, get the big stuff out. They use these massive pumps and vacuums to remove all that standing water. Then, step 3, and this is so important, drying and dehumidifying. They bring in these huge air movers to pull every last bit of moisture out of the air and the structure itself. Step 4 is cleaning and sanitizing everything. And only then, at step 5, do they start the actual restoration, rebuilding what was damaged. And sometimes you just can't save everything. Things that are really porous, like drywall or insulation or flooring that's all warped, it just has to go. The goal here isn't to patch things up. It's to completely get rid of every single trace of damage and moisture so the fix is permanent and, most importantly, safe. Okay, so you've gone through all of that. The science, the crazy equipment, all the hard work. What are you left with at the end? What's the real goal here? Because it's about so much more than just having a dry building. And this is it. This is what it's all about. Taking that complete chaos, that stressful, waterlogged disaster, and turning it back into a home. A place that's safe, that's healthy, that's comfortable. a place where you can finally breathe again.
Because at the end of the day, it really isn't just about fixing the walls and floors. It's about that emotional recovery. It's about getting back your peace of mind. Getting back your house, yeah, but also your sanctuary, and knowing for sure that it's safe and sound.
So that brings us to the big question. Your home is your biggest investment, right? Is it ready for something totally unexpected? Look, learning about all this isn't meant to scare you. It's about empowering you. Because if something does happen, understanding what's going on behind the scenes and knowing just how critical a quick response is, well, that knowledge is what turns a potential catastrophe back into a home.